Hi besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm back again with another cut and sew video. If you're a return subscriber, thank you. If you are yet to subscribe, like and comment. Thank you.
Let's start what we have come into the room to do.
You don't need a lot of measurements to make the shorts. You just need your length, your hip circumference, your waist circumference, and your thigh circumference. Note, I'm making a free short, not too tight, not too free, just fitted. First, you measure your thigh circumference on the fabric. We're working with 30, so I'll be adding 2 inch for my sewing seam allowance. That's 32. You don't have to divide it into two. Just measure the old 32 on the front fabric and 32 at the back. Making shorts, palazzo, trouser, pants are very tricky because you cut on your exact measurement on the front parts and add 2 inch sewing seam allowance at the back part. I don't know if you get it, but don't worry, you get to understand everything in this video. After your perfect folding, you fold again. That's 4. You're working with 30 divided by 2, 15. So you're working with your exact measurement. That's the 15 at the front part. Then on the back part, you're also working with 15 plus the sewing seam 2 inch allowance. That's 17. So 17 back, 15 front. Trust the way I place it here. Then you measure the length. We're working with 15 plus our sewing seam allowance 1.5. I like folding my trouser or my short very bold, so I'll be using 1.5 plus a ½ inch for the band sewing seam allowance. That's 2 inch, so that makes the length 17. Take a minute, subscribe, like and comment. To make things easier and faster, you just want to cut it out. Don't forget, do not cut out your 2 inch sewing seam allowance. If you're on the right track, your front part should be your exact size, while the back part should be bigger with just 2 inch sewing seam allowance. To be sure you're on the right track, you can also try to remeasure your 2 inch sewing seam allowance. I'm just trying to trim it, the excess out and make it perfect.
You go know say people fine. You go know say God design in a
I'll be using 10.5 for my flap measurement. You can also go with 10 or 9, but please don't use anything lesser. And we also have different body types. You can go with 11 or 12, depends on what you want to achieve with it. So for your thigh measurement, don't forget to working with 30. 30 divided by 2, that's 15. For your thigh, you divide it by 2. For your hip, you divide it by 4. Your waist divided by 4.
I don't want you to waste my time. I don't wanna wait till it's all over. This life is a gift from.
Next, your hip measurements. Don't forget, we're dividing your hip circumference by 4. We're working with 44. 44 divided by 4, that's 11. Do it just like this. I would advise use a French curve if you're a beginner. You can just get the French curve. It is easier and make things faster. You can use the French curve to cover your armhole, your flap, your princess dart, anything, but I'm kind of used to it, so I can just freehand sketch it. Meet my nephew. I really tried all my best to get this guy out of my video, but he refused. And I was like, okay, if you decide to sit at the exact point where I want to cut my fabric, I will still make this video. In a normal me would have just break down like, okay, I'll make this video some other time. I'll just probably go sleep in Ankara or see movie. But like, dude, if you sit on my fabric, I would make this video. And here we are. After the chalking and all, cut your fabric neatly. Always make sure to cut outside the chalk, not inside the chalk. If you cut inside the chalk, you're actually cutting out your measurement, so you want to cut outside the chalk. And that is all you have to cut for your short. And don't forget to add no pockets. Cut your 4-inch band and don't forget to make it very long. So you start with one leg. Start sewing from the waist side. Place the fabric correctly. Measure your waists. Don't forget we're working with 34. 34 divided by 4, that's 8.5. So here's a simple act to make your shorts or your palazzo pants look perfect. Do not stress by measuring the waist and all. Just sew on your 2 sewing seam allowance at the waist side. If you notice, we didn't cut out or chalk out the waist measurement while cutting the shorts. So first, measure 2 inch on your waist side, so order 2 inch. Measure 9 inch from your waist downward to your hip point. Then from your hip point, measure half inch. So you sew your half inch sewing seam allowance. If you know how to sew a straight skirt, you would understand what I'm saying better. It seems like you're sewing a straight skirt but in a trouser form, which make it more easier. The same system applies to your trouser palazzo. If you're sewing a pants, 2 inch at the waist side, then half inch downward. When you're done with that, you fold. Do not forget we cut on 17, 1.5 inch for the folding, the other half inch for the band allowance. So you're folding in the 1.5 sewing seam allowance. After folding off the lengths, you join the other side together, make it equal, and also sew on your half inch sewing seam allowance. Please, if you're making a trouser, always note you're sewing on your half inch sewing seam allowance so you don't shorten your measurements.
But the truth, I look better under you. I can't lose when I'm with you.
Repeat the same step on the other part of the shirt. But note, we're fixing our zip by the side. You can also decide to fix yours at the back, but I prefer the side more. I believe in a zip allowance, which is 9 or 8 inch. When you're done with both legs, turn both legs inside out, and you're ready to fix. Do not forget we're working with 34 waist measurement. 34 divided by 4, that's 8.5. Place your 8.5, measure it out, and sew out the excess. You do not need to trim or anything, just need to make a perfect inner weaving after all the sewing and all. Measure your waist measurements. Working with 44 divided by 4, that's 11. Measure and sew straight down. I hope my videos are self-explanatory. If they're not, please let me know in the comment section, and if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. After fixing both sides, you had your band.
See this joy no be by wealth, neither from all those luxury things.
Finally, the last part. Do not forget you sew in 2 inch at the first waist side you made. So repeat the same thing at the other waist side. So if you're fixing your zip at the back, you just need to measure all the waist together and divide your normal waist, then sew in the rest. But if you're sewing at the side parts, the other side and the zip side must correspond together. I mean a measurement wise. If you're a returning subscriber, you'll notice I always change my machine foot anytime I'm about to fix zip. Yes, it's an invisible foot, but I use it for all type of zip because it makes it faster and easier. Finally, our cute comfy shirt is ready. If you have any question, please do let me know in the comment section. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace and love. Bye.
I don't wanna wait till it's all